I was about to call you Mr. iPad, but that's Al.
Okay, it looks like we're live on Facebook, Chairman.
Thank you, Zach. Live on Facebook. Good evening, everyone. This is the Utility Commission, Fort Valley, Georgia, October 12th, regular monthly meeting. We thank you, everybody, for joining us on Zoom. We stream live via Facebook. Commissioners, attorney, mayor, thank y'all for joining us. Thank you for willingness to serve, to make things happen in our city of Fort Valley. We'd like to start out by opening up with the word of prayer. Mayor, would you offer a word of prayer for us, please?
I'll be happy to. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening at the end of a day, thanking you for the energies that you have allowed us to experience as we work through the day. We thank you for the weekend. We thank you for the start of a new week, and it's a busy week for some of us. But we thank you for the energy that you give us and the life that you give us to be able to do this. We thank you for the people that you allow us to serve, and we thank you for those who are here to serve them. Thank you for this commission, its staff, and its commissioners. Be with us throughout this entire evening is our prayer. Guide our minds, guide our tongues, and guide our hearts, and control our thoughts is our prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much for those words of encouragement to prayer. Thank you so much. First off, I'd like to start out by reminding everyone that remain diligent in adhering to the CDC guidelines for regarding our COVID-19. Wear our masks, wear them at home, wear them in the public. You know, it helps, you know, it really does help protect me from you and I protect you from me. Be sure and watch our newsline that's coming out. We have more information on how to access those guidelines for the CDC to help keep ourselves ever safe from this COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. And on more news, on April 15th, in 2011, the Utility Commission committed to participate in a project with the USDA Rural Development to add a water tank on the campus of Fort Valley State University, a new well, and a chemical feed building. USDA loan was in the amount not to exceed $2,387,000, and will award a grant for the project for $1,848,000. The bond validation on this project is set for October 16th, and a pre-construction meeting will be held after validation. Construction could get started right after the pre-construction meeting. And I'd like to thank the 18, all the commissioners, Mayor, Commissioner Thompson. I thank y'all, Mr. Baker, Mr. Walker, the whole 18 for staying diligent with that, making that happen all the way up to this point. We can make things happen. We're going to move on with our agenda approval of the agenda. We need a motion for approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to amend the agenda to include those 7 items that I sent to each commissioner associated with some housekeeping matters that we need to attend to. Ms. Birch has a copy of those additions, and if in order, I move that we add those to this agenda.
Those seven agenda items.
Right.
Okay. A motion to add.
Right.
I'll take a motion to add the agenda. Those 7 items to our agenda.
I'll for a motion that we add those 7 items
You need a second.
to the agenda. A second the motion.
A second for the motion to add the agenda items to our agenda tonight, October 12th. And right now, I'll call for a show of hands of those that are in favor of adding those agenda items to our agenda for October 12th. Show of hands and vote. Got it, Ms. Penny?
All right.
All right. Show of hands of those that are not in favor. I am not in favor due to the pending litigation that's going on. All right, those agenda items will be added, items 1 through 7. We'll put them at new business. Item 5, where they'll be on the new business, Mr. Crafton.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much for the vote, motion and vote. We're moving on. Approval.
Ms. Lindsay.
Yes.
Oh, I think Mr. Lindsay had an addition too.
Okay, I didn't hear you, Mr. Lindsay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to add something to the agenda about the possible replacement of the general manager with an interim general manager.
Would you like to make that in the form of a motion?
I would.
I second
Hey,
the motion.
call for a motion of the replacement of the general manager for Fort Valley Utilities Commission.
A question.
Yes.
My understanding, this is not a replacement. I think,
Interim.
the general manager took an unspecified leave of absence. We don't know when he's coming back. And I have no problem with his appointee to take care of stuff while he's gone. We operate a $25 million industry. And I think we need somebody that knows how to do that, to be interim until Craig decides to come back or until his sick leave is done. And with that, you can call for the vote.
Okay, the motion was to replace Mr. Mims in the interim of his medical leave. And we needed a motion and a second, and now we need a vote. Correct, Mr. Crafter?
Yeah.
All right, we got the motion. We the second?
A second.
All right. And we call for the vote. All those are in favor for the vote of interim to replace General Manager Craig Mims during his medical leave. By show of hands, wave at the camera so Miss Penny can see you. You got it, Miss Penny? All those not in favor, raise your hand. I am not. He's on medical leave, not terminated. No, I don't go for it.
I didn't see who made the motion.
Lindsay.
Mr. Lindsay made the motion.
And for clarification, this is not to terminate.
That's correct.
Interim.
terminate.
It's the interim. It is interim.
Right. What?
Correct.
All right, go ahead. We'll deal with that at the point of time.
Okay, that item will be on the agenda after the 7 items of Mr. Crafter there, Mr. Lindsay. Okay, moving on with the agenda, the approval of the minutes for call meeting of September 8th and September 15th of 2020. Those minutes were in your official packet from Miss Penny Birch. I trust you had time to read over. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I have a problem in that all of the votes that were listed on the minutes were unanimous 2-0. It is my understanding that it takes a majority of 3 of the commissioners to approve any action. I don't have any problem with any of the subject matter in any of those motions, but I think that to follow the laws that are set in the bylaws and other places, we need to have a
Quorum.
at least a quorum, at least, and at least 3 votes to make it possible. And in view of the ongoing water tower situation, I think that to facilitate that, the USDA is asking for the signatures of the newly appointed commissioners, and I don't have a problem with signing those documents to make them legal, because we need that work. I don't think I can't speak for Mr. Lindsay, but I don't think he will have any problem with that either. So I think that we need to do whatever we do with that, we need to do it proper, decently, and in order.
I do not argue with you that it being decent in order. Attorney Jones, could you care to speak on that, please, sir?
Yeah, the votes are fine. You don't have to have 3. You have to have a majority of those eligible to participate, and 2 was enough to make those motions valid. I mentioned before, and the chairman mentioned a minute ago, that he voted against something because of the pending litigation. One of the things that I mentioned before is that because there is pending litigation, I think that the commission needs to be careful about participating in anything that might affect the ongoing projects that we have. So certainly, I don't think that it's necessary from a legal standpoint to re-vote on anything. And I think the commission should be careful about voting on anything with everyone participating that affects a pending projects, because you could possibly invalidate something down the road. But what you choose to do is what you choose to do.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, giving that information. So noted, Mr. Crafter, moving forward, that with any other business, now that we have enough to make a quorum, as you say, and we'll move forward accordingly if that appeases the commission.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I just like the records to show that I have questioned that before. And because the charter says 5 or 4 commissioners and the mayor being ex officio, that's 5. All right, so a quorum would be 3 of that commission. A quorum doesn't mean the number of people that show up to a meeting. If somebody doesn't show to the meeting and you're supposed to have 4, that's still not necessarily a quorum. A quorum for our commission would be, if it's 4, supposed to be 4 members, then a quorum would be 3. And I just want the record to show that. We can go in whatever direction you want to go in with that, but 2 is not a quorum. 1 is not a quorum. 3 is.
But this is the thing. A quorum is based on the number of folks who are eligible to participate. You had 5 members. 2 of them left. 1 resigned, one deceased, unfortunately. And that left 3 members, and really 2 voting members. So you had a total of 2 voting members and the mayor. So a quorum, the 2 votes constitutes a quorum in that case. You don't. If the positions are vacant, they don't count toward the quorum. Now, and so that is the reason for it. Regardless of how many members should be there, what's important is how many are actually in the seats.
Question.
Mr. Chair, I do want to say that we have been trying to work on this USDA project forever. And we were at a point wherein we were now moving forward. I think if we start that back all over again, we fixing the delay the project again, all over again. I think we should move with the 3 that we had. We said, and that 3 included me, by the way, with the 2, which was the reason why we were trying to move on so we could do business and do it right. So I think, and I'm almost sure that this is going to happen. If you start doing that, then those projects are going to be stalemated. Thank you.
Mr. Crafter, you have anything to say?
Question. So that means that according to the newly adopted law, which restricts the mayor from voting unless there is a tie, the vote would have had to been 1-to-1 in order for the mayor to vote. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
All right. Well, as I say, there are matters that need to be interpreted as it relates to the bylaws and House Bill 685 along with the charter. And I don't think we have enough time. We not have time to deal with that tonight. I think we should proceed with the business of this commission and deal with that at a later time. I don't think that we should hold up the water tower or any other business that the people need in fear of what somebody down the road might say. If the judge rules in favor of the plaintiffs, so be it. But if he rules in favor of the commission, so be it. But we don't have to. I don't want to wait 6 months down the road and delay all the business to work for whatever time it takes for them to make a decision. So I have no problem with that.
The status of the water tower project is fine. It's moving forward. We'll go through and we'll have the validation. Really, I don't anticipate any official action necessary from the board to continue that project. You know, with the validation is the last part of it, and that'll take place on the 16th.
Well, as I said in the last meeting, Mr. Jones, the two things that concerns me with the information that you sent me on that on the documents. The word interim was used in the identification of the commissioners who signed that document. And from my understanding, interim means temporary. And the second thing was that document did not have a date on it. So, there was a reason for both of those, to which I don't have access to what it is. You know what I'm saying?
And I offer to explain that to you, and I'll do it now if you want me to. Interim doesn't mean temporary. It means financing that's taking place before the validation is completed. The Utility Commission has spent money on that project already, and the interim financing is the financing that will reimburse or pay those funds. So that's the only reason it's interim. It's before the validation is complete.
What about the date?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. What you mean about?
There was no date. What the document calls for a date.
When
There
we
was no date.
Sometimes when we execute documents for public agencies, they will ask us not to date the documents. We sign them, we send them back to them, and they finish the execution of the documents. So that may have been what you saw.
Whether I agree with that or not will not be debated in this setting. I call for the order of the day.
You agree with it. I'm telling you what it is, and you can accept it or not accept it.
All right, Mr. Chairman, call for the order of the day.
All right. We accept the motion of the approval of the minutes that includes the USDA.
Second.
Second. All right. Call for the vote for the approval for the minutes of September 8th and September 15th, 2020. For all those in favor, show of hands in front of the camera so Miss Penny can see them. Got it, Miss Penny?
I got it.
Okay, all those in favor of not accepting the call meeting approval of the minutes for September 8th to 15th, 2020, by show of hands.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I abstain from the vote because of the reason that I gave in my earlier statements.
You abstain. Okay, understand for the reasons you gave in the statement in your comments with Attorney Jones. Understand. Thank you, sir. You have all the votes and the abstention, Ms. Penny?
I do.
All right, moving on to our next agenda item, activity report, September 2020. Director of Financial Services, Ms. Kathy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So for the finance department, we completed the August financials. The fiscal year 21 budget was completed, presented to commissioners and approved on September the 15th. The meter department completed 780 work orders. We had 864 tantalus reads. We installed 5 tantalus polyphase electric meters, which is part of phase 2 of that project. For customer service, we posted 5,367 payments. For the COVID assistance to date, we've had 1 assistance from Habitat for $209.25. We've had 48 from Middle Georgia Community Action Agency for $10,642. We've had 154 CARES for $31,792. We've had 2,199 customers through the drive-through for the month of September. We had 60 new customers sign up for the online web portal for their account. We had 130 arrangements in September. For the IT department, repairs were made to the telecom node after some flooding Back when Hurricane Sally came through, we had about 8 inches of rain and we had to repair some damage. Two-way radios were maintenanced and repaired as we were getting ready for storms to possibly come our way. For our company-wide phishing security test that we do, we had a 98.1% passing rate on both tests. We did 2 tests in September. And we took a total of 6,987 calls on our system. Any questions?
No,
Right.
any questions from the commission?
Good. Question.
Go ahead, Ms. Craft.
We have a $24 million budget. Yeah, this was the financial report.
Well, this is the monthly updates. I present the financial reports at work sessions. And since we didn't have it in the actual work session this month, it's in the packet for this week to present to you guys.
Basically, what I'm saying, I did not see it in the package. What I'm looking for, we had an approved budget for the new year of October 1, I think.
Correct.
And from now on, the information that we need relative to the budget.
You get
is
that
how
every
much
month.
how much money we've taken in, how much money we've expended, and from which budget line item those expenditures came.
The commissioners
I
get
think-
that every month.
But that is a matter of public record, and I think that should be a part of every financial report that's given in future commission meetings.
So however the commissioners would like me to handle that, like I said, normally that's presented at the work session. So I do present it every month. So
We'll
if
we'll
I'd be
deal
glad to
with that.
change it.
deal with that.
Okay.
Ms.
Thank you for your
Craft, commissioners, if there's anything that we have that's dealing with the budget, any information that may be simplified for your understanding, I'm sure Ms. Kathy and any of the group will go ahead and make that happen for us, because understanding we defeated half the problem. So we can get that understood, get that simplified and to them some kind of way, Ms. Kathy, so it's understandable each month as we do. I think it would be okay. Is that satisfactory, commissioners?
To include it,
Yeah, I'd like to get it also.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
if
Can I
the
ask a question?
breakdown has to come down simpler for the, as you say, I was told growing up, the non-business, which is me, make it simple. We have to simplify it so we can all understand it, and which is
So
not a problem.
can I
Thank you,
ask,
sir. Thank you, ladies.
can I ask a question on that, Al Ray? For
Yes, ma'am.
the commissioners that have seen my reports before, is there anything additional to that? Because I think that pretty much covers what Commissioner Crafter's looking for. So is there anything else you think I need to add to that?
Can I say something, Mr. Chair? Whenever we are not having a work session or not having a regular meeting, and of course we do this with the council, very seldom do we cancel meetings. But if you have, do not have a meeting, all the financial reports and everything else that's supposed to be submitted should be submitted anyway. You're just not discussing it, but we still should get that in our hands. I think that would be fair. And the other thing I wanted to ask, and this is a little bit different than that, I had a young man that came into my office today that had a tenant at his house, similar to the same thing that all of us who have renters are going through with their tenants when they are laid off and COVID affecting whatever they do. He wanted to know if there was something that he could do to help his tenants with the utility situation. And I had misplaced that 1-800 number. I know there's a 1-800 number that y'all have posted out there. And I was wondering if I could get that number again in order to pass that on when somebody comes down there to me.
Sure, it's also on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So I can go ahead and give it to you. It's 800-525-4972.
4972. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Now, I'm sure the utilities are in the tenant's name. but the landlord is trying to help the tenant out because he's not paying his rent, you know, because he's having trouble. So what would they have to do in order to approach this situation for him to help the tenant?
The tenant would have to apply.
You know, y'all said something about others couldn't.
I
That the
mean,
tenant would have to apply.
the tenant would have to apply for the
Is
assistance.
that what you're
The account is in his name.
saying? Okay. All right.
Just
All right.
one
I
other
just need to give the
question,
right
Kathy.
information. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I was told by a young lady at Tapatia that she doesn't have transportation, and she just walked through the drive-through and they said that they couldn't take her money, or they would not take her money.
Right. We've got a sign at the front door. We will let customers in. Each of our reps are able to open the door, and we'll let one person in at a time. So we would prefer those that ride their bike or walk to actually call us and let them in to make payment.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the Director of Finance for the budget? And
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to extend this any further than now, but we represent a corporation owned by the citizens of this town. And I think it is necessary in order to be transparent that we provide the information. When we provide the information, who is that talking? That we provide the information on a monthly basis on the financial status and a report that shows the figure to the general public for their if they don't get it, it won't be because we didn't provide it. With that, I'm through.
all right, I understand, Mr. Kraft. I think it's the general consensus of everyone in this Zoom meeting that we will get a monthly, as we have been doing. We'll make sure the budget is provided and simplified and as described by you earlier, Mr. Crafter. Any other questions on for Ms. Kathy on the Director of Finance? All right, moving on to the next item, Electric and Gas Department.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good, how are you?
I'll start with
Good.
electric.
Good.
We responded to 13 tree limbs on line calls, 13 streetlight repair calls, 13 trouble calls, outage and trouble calls. We repaired 8 security lights. Worked on getting power to Valley High Apartments. That project should be finished up hopefully next week or the following week. Upgraded the service at Evans Farms so they could do some upgrades to their plant. Moving on to gas. We received 4 leak calls in the month of September. That's down, so that's good. Had 1 low gas pressure complaint. Removed 1 gas service for demolition of home. We removed 2 gas meters. Relocated a 2-inch gas service at 801 Shamley Drive, which is the old Hunt Elementary. Relocated that for the new homes that are being built there. Completed leak patrolling of outside business district. Got odor readings and rectifier readings. That's all compliance issues there. Telecom, responded to 13 trouble calls. Installed 1 new fiber service. Installed the hardware to relocate the wireless access point at Plain Living subdivision. That's out off Highway 96. We're waiting on Flint to install their power so we can move forward with bring that online. And that's all. Any questions?
Mr. Baker, you said you turned on, did a service at 801 Chamonix. Is that the same house that's sitting over in the middle of Tulip Drive?
Yes, sir. We relocated so that that house could be located there, be built there.
Oh, it can be built facing Tulip Drive, but the address is 801 Chamonix Drive.
That's correct. That's the address of the old Hunt Elementary School.
I thought that was a school, but I thought the house was 801. I thought they
No,
changed the location.
The house is, its address is Tulip Drive. I'm not sure the house number though.
Okay.
I've got a question for Mr. Baker.
Okay.
Mr. Baker, the internet and all on Houses Mill Road, could you get me up to speed on that? Why is it some customers can get it and some can't get it out there?
Well, customers that came first to those, when that line was installed, from my understanding, we picked those up along the way. I know there's a subdivision out there that wants it, but it's not really feasible to do that with the cost that it will take, to do that. We had someone come and analyze that, and it was not a good idea for the commission to put that kind of money into it.
What kind of money are you talking about?
I'm not sure what that was. I don't have that in front of me. I can find that out.
How much was this project here? Plain Living Sky Park for their internet or Wi-Fi service and all that we got going on there?
Roughly around 10,000.
Okay. Thank you there.
Mr. Baker,
Yes, ma'am.
you said that you removed a gas demolition and you had a leak. Where was the leak? And tell me about the demolition.
The demolition was, I don't have the exact address. It was on State U down by San Gerald Drive in that area. We had 4 leaks. I don't have that information in front of me. I can tell you one of them was the mayor's house. I
thought that was gonna come up.
I don't have those addresses in front of me right now.
It's okay about the address, but those leaks have been taken care of, right?
Yes, ma'am. They were houses on the customer side, or leaks on the customer side. They were not issues of ours.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But I was happy that he sent somebody to look at it though, because I could have been going poof soon if I hadn't gotten somebody. And so I'm happy that he came and checked that and gave me the advice that he gave me, and I got a plumber immediately and got it taken care of. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Mr. Kraft, question.
That subdivision that you talk about, is it served with other Fort Valley utilities?
Where are we speaking of?
The Houses Mill subdivision for the internet?
Right.
I believe, I'm not sure if we serve water in there. Do we serve water there, Clay?
We have water in the area. We do not have sewer at this time, but we have water running right up by there. I'm not positive of the subdivision you're speaking of, but I can check on Esri real quick. What is the name of that subdivision?
This is Country Meadows. Is that correct, Mr. Steve?
I'm not very sure. I know where you're at.
The name of the subdivision is Country Meadows, and if I remember correctly, Mr. Lindsay and Mr. Baker and also Clay, it was an estimate somewhere between $14,000 and $20,000 per hookup, and the most recent was given by ComSouth, if I'm not mistaken. It was all on Facebook about a week ago. It was about $20,000 to run per hookup, and I can't afford internet for that much, and I don't know if that's feasible or reasonable, or even if it's the 100% truth. It was just on Facebook of that organization. And I understand that it's an astronomical price. And I don't, you know, even from where I live to get it, it's more than I care to pay. But we can do the research on it, Mr. Lindsay. Mr. Baker, if you don't mind, let's do the research on it. And if the customers want to pay the price, you know, that's what we have to deal with. They have to pay the price.
Right.
Question.
If I recall, the project was.
Subdivision in the city limit? Is that subdivision in the city limit?
No,
No,
ma'am.
that's in the county on Houses Mill Road.
Okay.
Question, Ms. Kraft.
Didn't the commission run sewage, you know, gas and all that stuff, including internet, all the way up 96 to 41? So is that right or not right?
No, it's not to 41. To Altman Road is where our gas stops, as well as telecom.
Where's Auburn Road?
Altman
That's
Road.
just over the interstate,
Yeah, just east of the interstate.
right
East of
next
the
to the
interstate.
RV
So
park and across from
Housing
Superside.
Mills Road is on this side of the interstate.
Yes, sir. It's on the west side of the interstate.
All right. My suggestion is this, as the chairman said, do the research. Bring the figures back to the commission. And let the commission decide whether it is economically feasible to do that. Having considered everything including the possibility of annexing that community into the city. You see what I'm saying? So just bring us the information back at a subsequent meeting, and we will look at it and hopefully get together and decide which is best for both the commission and those citizens out there.
All right, what you're saying, Mr. Kraft, is we're gonna look at that, get our figures and of what it would take, and pending a annexation from the mayor and council of putting that subdivision into the as part of our tax digest and our full services.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
It can be an incentive. It can be an incentive for annexation.
All right, I understand.
Mr. Chairman, I was just gonna say too, I know Baker said he couldn't remember that cost, but I think the last time we looked at that, I wanna say it was around $85,000–$90,000. But we can go back and look at it.
But how many customers are potentially in that neighborhood?
About 10.
10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around 10, you know.
What's the projection? What's the projection on how many people can live in the area that will be where the infrastructure is run?
And we can get all of that, because one of the things we actually had a management team meeting the other day, because this subject has come up, and we are looking at that area. Zach, we're looking at that whole area from an economic development standpoint to see how much it would cost us to get out there, the potential for customers, especially on the business side too, that will help share the cost of being able to serve the residents out there too. So we had a management team meeting, I want to say about 2.5 weeks ago. So we are working on doing that, looking at the maps, looking at the area, looking at the potential customers out there, and see if we can present you all with something that would be feasible to run the telecom out there.
Mr. Chair, can I add something? I think as he said, it would be a great incentive for annexation out that way, because former Commissioner Honeycutt had mentioned one time before that if we
All right, Mayor, you froze on that one with me. But the commissioners, the entire board, I think that we should look at it, you know, not and Mr. Lindsay, and to the relatives that are out there. As a matter of fact, one of my
I'm sorry. Can I make mention also that the fact that the children are doing online learning, part of the online learning, and then there's a lot of people who are plagued with that's going to need that. If we ever got to the point where we had to go totally online, our children would be suffering. So that's 3 incentives that we're talking about. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. It's about 11 or 12 houses that I see out there. And I think there was 1 or 2, Mr. Lindsay, that are probably about quarter mile back down in the woods. And I think that's probably where you have heard, because I've heard about that resident as well. And we looked at the studies and tried to figure out how to get internet to those folks and how can we do it as cost efficient for them and as well as the commission. You know, and if we can get it there and they are acceptable and we're acceptable, it's logical. Yeah, we too have kids that are doing that distance learning, the virtual learning, and people who are doing distant work. So we understand that. We just have to get to that part of seeing how feasible we can get it. Each day turns a different dollar, different number. So we'll look at it again. Thank you, Ms. Martha, 18. Any other questions, Mr. Crafter, on this subject matter?
It will be dealt with whenever we get the report on that. I'm not gonna say anything till I got the information.
Got it. All right, thank you. Anything else you got, Mr. Baker, for us there?
No, sir, that's it for me.
All right, thank you, Mr. Baker, Electric and Gas Department. We're going on to the next agenda item, Water and Reclamation Department. Mr. Clay, how you doing this evening?
Doing very well. I hope you all are doing very well this evening.
Sir.
This last month, we repaired 9 service leaks. We replaced 2 meter boxes, installed 1 new service. We changed out 2 meters and we hauled material to well 8 for our line extension on Lakeview Road and Sullivan Drive. And that job has just been started. We completed our year-end inventory and all our counts to get everything to transfer over for the year. We processed 89 locate requests and we pumped 50.235 million gallons of water. On the wastewater side, we pressure cleaned just over 5,000 feet of line. We flushed laterals on 5 streets. We video inspected 4 streets, and then we dye tested on Spencer Road. We replaced the security lights, the LEDs, with LEDs on the deep chlor and on the digester building at the Lantern plant. We added 12,000 gallons of magnesium hydroxide, 1,200 gallons of magnesium hydroxide to the aeration basin at the plant to bring our pH up. And we pumped 579,000 gallons of sludge to the digester. We processed 32,100 gallons of sludge through the centrifuge, and we sent 3,100 pounds of biosolids to 31,000 pounds of biosolids to the landfill. We processed 34 million gallons of wastewater, and we recorded a record of 9.9 inches of rain, which we fought that a lot this last month because we really got flooded out. Do you have any questions?
No, sir, I don't have any questions. Any commissioners? Mayor, you have any questions for Mr. Clay?
No, I'm good.
Mr. Clay,
Yes, sir.
with all this rain, so many inches and whatnot, in your estimation, how has our system handled that? Is our system adequate? We had a lot of rain and a lot of runoff, and a lot of water to come to your facility out there.
You're going to be, oh, I'm sorry.
Did our facility handle it adequately? And as such, do you see a need to add additional capacity to the system out there? If so, if you don't have that, do a report on that and let us know at a later meeting. That making sense?
Yes, sir. We get a good bit of inflow. We really need to, and we have several projects. We have many projects that are addressing the inflow. addressing inflow is as good as giving us a more process availability. It is something we certainly need to work on. And we
Right.
do, for any long-term, for any growth at all, we will have to increase the size of our facility or adjust our facility. But yes, both of those items need to be addressed. And we have several projects that are in the works right now.
Forgive me for not knowing that, but we have a briefing schedule. When is that, Ms. McAfee?
I think it's Wednesday at 2.
Yes.
Okay, we have a briefing. We have a briefing schedule for the new commissioners and anybody else who want to attend. And I think those are items that will be discussed and that we will be brought up to date on, so we'll know, everybody know what's going on. And from that point, we'll move forward as you add stuff in. As you need stuff, then we will be able to facilitate that based on the resources that we have that have been earmarked for expanding and maintenance of our system.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Clay containing our water and how much rain we received and how we were able to handle it in the last few weeks? No other questions? Thank you, Mr. Clay.
Thank you.
And we'll definitely look into that for Mr. Crafter on how if we need to update whatever we need to get together, let's make our city safe and ready for the future. All right, going on to the next business. We have no old business. So the next item will be at new business, and that will be Mr. Crafter and let's see. You say there's a document you emailed, correct?
Do you have that document, Miss Penny?
With the agenda items,
Right.
I can forward it back out to everybody.
It was not included in the original documents, correct? In the packet, correct?
Right. Well,
No, I didn't.
Oh,
bottom line, there was a concern about the protocol as it relates to setting an agenda. And Mr. Jones informed me about the law, and I followed the law in that, and that law was adhered to tonight, in that the chairman allowed for these matters to be placed, and they were approved, and now we're here, just go forward with it. I have a list. The first one was the election of board officers. Mr. Bob Honeycutt was the vice chairman, and Ms. Linda Johnson was the secretary. And I think that we need to elect replacements for those two, with one tweak in this thing. I want to recommend that since you're already doing that, Ms. Penny Birch be elected as the recording secretary on an interim basis, and that Ms. Kathy Johnson be elected as the interim finance secretary. They're already doing this work, and after the briefing, when we get the resumes and the job descriptions of everybody, we will be better able to tell or to determine what direction the commission needs to go in for the permanent placing of these people. Is that understood?
okay. Maybe I'm not understanding, Mr. Crafter. You said you want Ms. Birch to be the official recording secretary for the committee.
Right.
And Ms. Kathy Johnson to be what now?
The official financial secretary for the commission. And those duties Either one or two things. I don't think they are specified in the bylaws, but the duties of the secretary are specified in the city charter, and that is to make financial reports, monthly reports, keep up with the money and the finances of the commission, make all recordings and all this other stuff. So, since you have two people doing that, it might be needed for that to continue. You know what I'm saying? Instead of combining it into one job like it was in the charter, we might need to separate it and let those two ladies be responsible. One for the hey, based on what has gone on just for this meeting, I understand that Ms. Birch was overwhelmed Friday, because she probably had to stay late and was tired when she got home. At any rate, her duties will be restricted to the recording secretary, recording all the minutes, making sure that all the documents that are requested are forwarded to wherever they go, and everything associated with that side of the duties. On the other side, everything associated with finances will be handled by Ms. Kathy Johnson. And if that works, then that particular part of our operating procedures, I think, will be solid, and we can move on into the future.
A question, Ms. Kraft. In doing those things, how are there going to be any any other financial contributions to them that the commission will be contributing for those extra duties or those other assigned duties?
Really doing it.
Based
so
on what
far.
I'm saying, they're doing it now.
Yeah, we're doing it now.
All we're gonna do right now is separate those into two positions. She is the recording secretary, because she's doing the work of the recording secretary now. At whatever the commission is paying them. I don't have access to that. But and then on the other side, Ms. Johnson is doing the same thing at whatever the commission pays. And unless there is a increase in responsibilities associated with what happened, I don't think there needs to be an increase right now of any financial payments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Whatever it is, at that time they will request it.
Okay. Do you have the the thoughts of the breakdown in writing that we may go over to really get a gist, rather than it's just explained, so we can read it as the mayor said, read and understand, so we can get a gist of how those positions will flow, will work, will connect in this plan. I mean, I understand they're already doing those things, but once we label that, we need to have it in writing, I believe, of what their actual duties are, so we can all go over it and have formal questions.
Right. All that happens, Mr. Chairman, during the developmental period. So then, what needs to happen now? We need to set the positions in concrete, and once we set the positions in concrete, then following the briefing, if there is a need to do that, it will be something that the entire commission will work on, and not me. So I only have one vote. This is an idea, but it's an idea that will be developed by the entire commission once we make these adjustments.
Okay, I'm understanding what you're saying, but these things that you brought forth, just these 7 items, for instance, do we have a business plan associated? You started with item 1, election of board members. Do we have a business prospectus, a business model that can give us things that we will go over and learn and understand, before we implement all this into action?
Mr. Chairman, as I said in the beginning, Bob Honeycutt was the vice chairman. Bob Honeycutt resigned. Linda Johnson was the secretary. Lyndon Johnson passed. Now, all this is designed to do is replace those two people.
Got it. And that's great, Mr. Crafter, replacing
as
those
it
two
relates
people.
to the other two. If you want to hold up on that, I have no problem with that. I just gave you what my assessment was, and that's my assessment. That had to be confirmed by a majority of the commission. What needs to happen has already been confirmed. Like I said, Mr. Honeycutt served as the vice chairman, and Ms. Johnson served as secretary. And the election of the board members is something that is critical for essential for the continued operation of the commission.
So do you not think the commission should vote for the other commissioners to serve in those positions?
What position?
Can I think some of the confusion is there are board members and then there are employees. The people, sounds like the people you're trying to replace, the position you're trying to fill are board member positions and not employee positions.
Right.
So the secretary of the board is a commissioner.
And that it was vacated when Lyndon Johnson passed. And
Yes, but I think the anticipation is that would be a board member.
Right.
That's okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I make one comment? Ms. Johnson took notes, but I think Ms. Penny typed up the minutes. She did the work already. And I don't have a problem with a board secretary, but I think you're just covering up what really actually is happening. The staff are the ones who have the expertise in doing these kind of things. Not saying that Dr. Johnson couldn't do it or anything of that nature, but Dr. Johnson was fairly busy too. But I think what she did was took notes in the meeting, transferred those notes on to Penny, and Penny transcribed them so that they could go out to us. And I think what's happening is it could be bypassing that step to move. Now, as far as the vice chair is concerned, that needs to be a board member, but I really do think the recording secretary ought to be a staff member for the commission, for the board. Now, as far as the finance secretary is concerned, I don't know how we need to do that, but if anything were to happen to you, Mr. Chairman, before the next meeting, for example, you don't have a vice chair. And of course, now the commission can always say, well, we're going to let such and such preside tonight because we don't have a vice chair's not here. But there's not a need to do that when you got enough commissioners to go ahead and appoint one if you needed to. But as far as Ms. Penny is concerned, Ms. Penny is doing that kind of work already.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification again, I'm sorry I keep butting in. Penny Birch is actually the recording secretary. She takes the notes and keeps the record. Dr. Johnson's position, she was the board secretary, and she mainly attests documents, official documents that have to be sent off to the different agencies. So she served in that capacity, although she did take her notes. And I think her and Penny would kind of collaborate to make sure they didn't miss anything. But her, the board secretary is mostly one that attests some of the documents sometimes when they require somebody from the board to be the person and not a staff member.
I understand. Thank you, Ms. Martha and Mr. Crafter and everyone else. As we know, inside this wild world, everybody's going to corporate restructuring and everything else. And I understand here's an opportunity to streamline our commission. But at the same time, coming from a Fortune 500 company, there are job descriptions and titles and what they're supposed to do. And just the title and nothing for us, Mr. Lindsay, myself, any of us to actually read and bite onto, to understand, those are things, what they're supposed to do, what these people are supposed to do, and how we're going to change Ms. Penny Birch's job title. So she'll know what her job title is officially is today. That's where I come from. It's nothing that is not going, or not impossible, but just clarification, crystal clear. And because I want it to be 100% legal in what we do.
I think, sir, if you go to page 10 and number 3 on your bylaws just kind of clarifies that. The only thing is, it's just not saying there that it is a necessary board member. It says any board member, officer, or staff member of the commission can execute or attest what's happening. So it's already there. The job description is already there on page 10, number 3.
Okay, well, Mayor,
For the
it seems that
secretary.
more communications about the desire of one of the items and what we already have may come together in the briefing of what we have and what he's proposing. I think what we're doing is a little bit premature and we don't know what's already there. It's kind of like reinventing the wheel. We got one. We just might need to paint it so it'll look a little better and put some Michelins on it instead of some Yokohamas,
Okay.
All right, moving on. That was election of board members.
Well, I want to add something to this. I want to make a motion that we put Mr. Crafter as vice chairman.
Second.
As a motion to make Mr. Crafter a vice chairman, motion and second. And you got that, Penny, Miss Penny?
Did we lose her?
I got it.
Okay, you got it. Okay, and if you would, I'll entertain the vote. All those in favor of Mr. Crafter being elected the vice chair tonight, October 12th, by show of hands to the camera, so Ms. Penny can count.
Say it again now.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Crafter lost his connection and we just got him back in. You might want to repeat that so that he hears what was said.
Mr. Crafter, Mr. Lindsay made a motion. It was second by Commissioner Thompson for you to serve as vice chair of the Utility Commission, Fort Valley, Georgia. And now we're calling for the vote. The vote was yes for Mr. Lindsay, Ms. Thompson, and then our mayor. And calling for a no vote is I'm calling for a no vote due to this pending litigation. I want everybody to be legal, and when it's ironclad, it's ironclad.
All right, well, so
So the vote is 3 votes for yes for Mr. Kraft to be the vice chair on this night, and 1 vote no.
Well, since the motion has already gained the needed votes for adoption, I'm going to abstain because I'm the subject matter of the motion. But the motion passes anyway.
Yeah. You ain't getting out of anything.
No comment.
All right, and that's on a board member, correct, Mr. Lindsay?
That's correct.
Now, as it relates to the other two, based on what the chairman says, I would like to hold up on those until a clearer understanding of what is going on happens. But until that time, we need to authorize, officially authorize somebody, preferably Ms. Birch, to continue to take the minutes.
Ms. Crafter, sorry for the interruption. Ms. Birch will continue to take those until we get all this stuff squared away. That's the A-team. They take care of us.
All right, thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item.
Next item, the appointment of a board attorney. I'm glad that Mr. Jones mentioned to me today something about the law. And the only law that governs the appointment of a commission attorney is a law legislated by the city council. before I make this motion. When we had one attorney, everything ran smoothly. It was only until we got two attorneys that stuff started happening, arguments and all this kind of stuff. It's time for us to stop fighting, stop arguing. And the legal wranglings that we've gone through since 2018 has had nothing to do with the operation of the management of delivering gas, water, electricity, and other services to the people. It's an argument about who had the right to do this, didn't matter. I think that needs to be straightened out. And so, if I'm in order, I'd like to move that we accept the legislation that was passed by the city council in 2018. It says that the attorney appointed by the commission, by the city, shall be the attorney for all operations, including the utility commission. And that is my motion.
So you call for we have a motion on the floor. Mr. Crafter call for a motion to have a second on that appointment of attorney.
I second the motion.
There's second. And now we call for the vote. There's probably motion and second. We call for the vote.
Question.
Appointment of.
Question.
They have a question?
I have one. Because Attorney Jones is already almost at the end of the water tower project, is my recommendation that the understanding be made that he be allowed to complete all of the activities, including the bonds and everything else associated with the water tower project. You understand what I'm saying? And if there are other projects that he is that deep into, that under supervision of the appointed attorney, he be allowed to continue until those projects are at an end. Does that make any sense?
Not with me, Mr. Crafter. I think I understood that you were going to appoint a new attorney. I imagine, because it says appointment of a utility attorney. You had someone completely differently in mind than Mr. Jones.
The attorney who was approved in a resolution of the Mayor and Council on September the 18th, 2018, in a resolution that said the attorney appointed by the city council shall be the attorney for all, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Mayor, for all agencies, including the utility commission. And that is the law that was legislated by the city council, who is the only legislative body who has the right to legislate law of the city in Fort Valley. And I'm asking that we adhere to the law that the city passed. And that was my motion. And it was seconded by Mr. Lindsay, and a call for the order of the day.
Okay, are you going to share that attorney with us?
Whatever attorney, let the mayor share that.
Okay.
So I understand it's going to be Mr. Jones. It's going to be both the city and the utilities commission is what I'm understanding.
Well, that's what I told the mayor.
Yeah, we appointed on September the 18th, we appointed Ms. LaRonda Patrick as the city's attorney. And of course, the two of them have worked well together. You heard Mr. Jones say that he actually trained her and that kind of thing. But that's the attorney that the city appointed, was Ms. LaRonda Patrick. And I like the idea of what Mr. Crafter said about the projects that Mr. Jones have been knee deep in and have guided us through, and all of that. But the city attorney at present is Ms. LaRonda Patrick.
Thank you.
Because Ms. LaRonda Patrick, the city attorney, is who you're saying you're going to appoint as the utility attorney.
If that's the way you want to phrase it, Mr. Chairman, yes.
Okay, Ms. Kraft, I just like it clear, crystal clear, and I have to. Sometimes you may not say it like I understand it.
Well, like I said, if that's the way you understand it, then the answer is yes.
Okay. All right, you had there's a motion on the floor, and it was
Call for the
seconded by,
vote.
and call for the vote. All those in favor of appointment of utility attorney for the city, Fort Valley, and the Utility Commission of Fort Valley, all those in favor by show of hands in front of Miss Penny. Show so Miss Penny can see it. Show them in front of the camera.
I got it.
You got it? Okay, all those against, and I'm against. Like I said, I'm litigation has me a little shaky, so I want to be legal and want to be right. So
Let's do it.
I don't want it to come back and my
Thank
daughter
you.
be looking at me crazy. But all right, that's
The next
So-
item.
So I would tell you that I'll be happy to complete the work that you've asked, that the projects, the GFA loans and the bonds, but I won't do them at the same rate that I would do if I was your attorney.
Have
And
no
so,
problem.
I will let you know what that rate will be, and then you can make your
Hey.
decision as to whether you want me to continue working on it. But it
Yeah,
will not
that's-
be the
that's-
same rate.
that's fair. That's fair.
That's
Have no
fair.
problem with that.
That's fair. Thank you, Mr. Jones. All right, on the next agenda item is
Now, we're not through.
what
This one was an amendment to House Bill 685.
That's what we were going to, Mr. Crafton.
Right.
Go ahead. Amendment to House Bill 685.
We have recently seen, and I respect Mr. Jones' opinion. However, I respectfully disagree with it because in 685, 685 reduced the mayor's participation as voting in the event of a tie. What had to happen with the water tower thing had raised some suspicions, if not some serious questions about what is going on. And I think everything that was done in an effort to do what was right and good for the city. So to bypass these problems in the future, my motion is to amend 685 to return the mayor to the status of ex officio member of the Utility Commission as stated in the city charter, with all of the rights and privileges of any other commissioner, which includes her votes and everything else. And that's the motion.
All right, you heard Mr. West call for a motion. He's motioned that we accept amendment to House Bill 685 with the mayor and her voting rights and privileges as a commission, and second by Commissioner Thompson.
Yeah.
A call for the vote. All those in favor?
Before you call for the
Show of
vote,
hands to the camera.
Mr. Chairman, before you call for
Yes.
the vote, I know I'm not your attorney, but since I'm here, I will tell you, you don't have the authority to amend a legislative act. And that's all I'll say about it. You don't have the authority, the city doesn't have the authority to amend that legislative act. And certainly the Utility Commission doesn't have the authority to amend.
Mr. Chairman, can I do a corrective action on that? We have the authority to approach the legislature, the city, as well as the Utility Commission. If it's unanimous, the city can approach the legislative delegation in correcting that. They did that on 685 kind of backwards. It was supposed to have been that the city council passed a resolution to make those kinds of things happen. That's the way it should have been. And so now after this particular delegation deals with it, then the council will deal with it. And I'm going to shut up because it's dealing with me. Okay.
In order for us to effectively do business as a utility commission, I think that we need to pass the legislation or the motion and let the legal minds on the state level and the city level deal with the right or wrong in that. But this is designed so that the commission can effectively do its business if certain numbers of the commissioners are absent, and there won't be no doubt that what you did was right. You know what I'm saying? So, in order for us to effectively do our business, I asked the commissioner chairman or the commission chairman to call for the vote.
All right, we got the motion for Mr. Crafty. We got your motions, call for the vote for the amendment of the House Bill 685, according to Mr. Crafton. All for a show of hands for the amendment, show them to Ms. Penny. All right, Mayor, you got it? Okay, all those not in favor, I raise my hand, not in favor due to this litigation. I'm worried about doing the legal business and illegal business, according to the attorney. All right, moving on to the next item, Mr. Crafter. Amendment to the bylaws.
Because of the reports that we've already gotten, this will be the last amendment that we're looking at. And according to the bylaws, the board can amend the bylaws at any time. One of the things that is necessary for the city to effectively provide the services to its customers and its citizens is for us to stop fighting. And based on the language of the bylaws, there are too many things. Number one, that encourage disagreements, and that in my estimation are not right. This commission is supposed to make policy and laws concerning the management and operation of the commission. And with the general manager having authority to approve everything from contracts, hiring, and everything else, without any interference from commission members. We can't even talk to employees unless it goes through the general manager. And that's not the way things operate. Things operate reverse. The commission makes the policy, and the general manager on down the line enforces those policies. So until we correct those and evaluate the bylaws in a way that returns the authority of the utility commission back to the commissioners, I think we need to suspend those bylaws and operate under the rules set by the charter of the city of Fort Valley, which gives the commission full power to manage and maintain this system without interference from the main council. And it does it in a way to suggest that the commission has all of the powers that the council has in doing our job. You know what I'm saying? And where there is a crossroads, it separates the council's authority from ours. But at any rate, it does and in my layman's opinion, the language of the charter creates the utility commission as a body corporate. And as a result, all those things that were given in House Bill 685, the commission already had before he did that. So my motion is, in order for us to correct this thing, that we suspend House Bill, not House Bill 685, the bylaws, and according to the bylaws, I think the board has the authority to do that. Or to amend it.
Question, Mr. Crafton. In your proposal, your amendment, would you be getting ahead of yourself before the briefing to understand? I know you've read everything 78 million times since 1974 about it. Would it, to see actually how this team operates with the bylaws, and the more of the issue becomes personal than it is instructional?
Well, this is not personal, and I've seen
I understand. I could recommend we table this until we can get further understanding from both sides.
I've seen how things work under the bylaws. And as I say, with the chairman replacing the authority, the general manager replacing the authority of the commission. It's something that we need to deal with. Case in point, this meant the commission gave a $35,000 limit on what the general manager can buy without having to get any approval from the commission. Understand? There are several other things, as in the commission has no right to say anything about any contracts or contractors or anything that deals with the operation and management of this body that we are supposed to be in charge of. So until we can configure this thing, and I'm doing what I'm doing within the limits of the law that was provided by House Bill 685 and the bylaws. This is within the law. That we look at this thing in terms of how we can accomplish everything that's being said without you trampling on my territory and me trampling on yours. Let me say this in saying that. When it comes down to the commission, it's my position that the territory established by the commission is the only territory an employee from the general manager on down, understand, has any authority or power to deal with. And we don't have that. In other words, based on the bylaws, they tell us what to do and we don't tell them what to do. And that's not right.
Mr. Kraft, I think it works a little different. But anyway, I'll entertain your motion.
All right. I move.
I just want to be clear. I think that the commission, regardless of what bylaw is in place, should work seamlessly, as I was mentioned to the mayor before, should work seamlessly in whatever is out there, including the charter and the current bylaws, we should be able to get past and do.
I understand that. No problem.
But I'm saying your motion, been motioned and properly looking for a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thompson. All those in favor, by a show of hands, all those in favor of this amendment to the bylaws, by show of hands, raise your hand so Ms. Penny can see. Mr. Lindsay, Mr. Crafter, Mayor Williams, and Ms. Thompson. All right, understood. And I vote no, just pending litigation. All right, and your other items, next item, you're gonna forego, suspend those, gonna cancel
Right.
those?
And I
All
think
right.
Mr. Lindsay had an item.
Say what now?
Mr. Lindsay,
Yes, sir, but I'm trying to get past yours.
I'm through.
All right, through. All right, Mr. Lindsay, we have you on another item, replacing the general manager during his interim on his medical leave, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you care to expound on
Do
that?
do we have any time frame on when Mr. Mims is gonna be possibly be returning?
I don't know the exact time frame of that.
I mean, is it gonna be 1 month, 2 months, less than 1 month?
Probably about 60 to 90 days. I would guess. I'm not sure. But we you know, if we as a commission, we can come together, and Ms. Penny or Ms. Martha may be able to help us do the HIPAA law, the HIPAA Act.
That's
We
right.
we have to tread a very thin line with that. So
That's right.
going forward, we may need to, you know, get those laws together, and so we can figure out how to communicate with and about that, so we can know how to best move forward for the commission.
All I'm saying is if we know that the current general manager
ask
is gonna be
something?
out for an extended
minute,
period
wait
of
a minute
time,
now.
then we ought to have someone that's qualified to come in and fill his duties until he's able to return.
Can I ask something? That briefing meeting that we have, is that an advertised meeting? That's Wednesday. Wednesday of this week. Is that an advertised meeting? Can't you take action if you needed to do that?
Whatever it is, if it is classified as a meeting, then I expect the staff to follow suit instead and do what's necessary to make it legal. But now, we won't be taking any action in that meeting, so it might need to be advertised as just what it is, a briefing. I'm saying, as opposed to a meeting. So, the other thing I had to ask was about this HIPAA law. What this HIPAA law talk about, man?
It's Health Insurance Privacy Protection Act or something along those lines.
Okay, all right, I understand that. I understand
that. There's certain ways.
Where
the chairman is speaking.
There's certain ways in which you may communicate with an employee who's out on medical leave. Their rights are protected. They are protected. Ms. Martha may have, as human resource, she may have the actual written law to deal with that. Ms. Martha?
Hold on a minute before you get to that. Like I said, Mr. Lindsay might have used the wrong word in his explanation, but the thought behind what he's saying is exactly right. Now, it's my understanding that nobody was told on the commission but the chairman about the general managers leaving on extended leave. Is that not right? Is that not right?
I mean, I was notified he was on medical leave.
My understanding is no other commissioner was notified about that or his choice for carrying on the business while he was out. Is that not right?
He was going on medical leave, and Martha would be his interim until not knowing.
I didn't find that out until in dealing with Miss Birch. She told me that. You saying so?
A lot of that took place before your nomination, Mr. Kraft.
I understand that. It don't make no difference when it took place. What I'm saying is that if, in my opinion, proper protocol had been followed, then the general manager would have informed either himself or through you all the commissioners, and at that time you could have sat down with him and discussed what the next steps were going to be while he was out, and make that decision with his approval. Because he did not do that. Let me say this. I like Miss McAfee, but Miss McAfee is no general manager. We got a $25 million industry here, and for between 60, 30, and 90 days, there's some serious stuff can happen.
That's right, Mr. Crafton. So let's move forward to the next. I understand what you're saying.
So,
Hey,
I just-
excuse me, Mr. Chairman, can I say something? Let me, just for clarification purposes, when Mr. Mims sent out the notification that he was gonna be out on leave, that same email that you got that also went to Ms. Thompson and to the mayor at the same time. So I think the three of you all were notified at the same time. And that was prior to the appointment. So maybe we erred in not bringing them up to speed when they were appointed. Secondly, I just want to be clear, because I've also had some employees kind of make reference to me too. I was not appointed interim anything. I was asked to be the point of contact so that all the information could kind of flow through one person and we wouldn't let anything drop through the cracks. I am not in a position to be interim GM. None of the employees have to come to me to ask permission, contrary to popular belief and what people have called them and asked them. I do not have the authority to tell the director of financial services, the operation managers that they can and cannot do anything. I am merely a point of contact. And that, I think I needed to make that clear, not only to you all, but also I think to some staff members who have come up and say, what do I need to do? That is not the role that Mr. Mims asked me to fill. He asked me to be the point of contact, and that's pretty much what I am.
Who's the decision maker if he's out? And if you're just a point of contact, who makes the decisions when they need to be made?
So all our managers are fully authorized to make decisions when it comes to doing things within their department. We do communicate with the chairman if there's something that we really think we need to bring the commissioners in. We operate as a team. Very seldom does even one of the managers make a decision. We have a management team. So if it's a significant decision that's going to affect the organization as a whole, we all get together as a team and kind of bounce it off to make sure that one person ain't deciding to do something that's of that magnitude. And going forward, if you all decide you all want to do something differently with the new GM or the interim GM or the new management team, ever how you all want to do it, I hear you talking about, I voted to suspend the bylaws. That's fine with us. We just need to know what you all want us to do. If you all want us to no longer get together as a management team to make those decisions, you all want us to talk to you all about the decisions, it doesn't matter. We just need clear direction from you all. But I did want to make it clear that I know my capabilities. I know my background. I know I don't know anything about whether to cut something off or dig a hole and do, that's not my expertise. But we do work together as a team and we talk about projects when they come up. And that's not my job. I have not been appointed in the general manager's stead to make decisions. That's not what he asked me to do. It just keeps all of us from bombarding him with complaints or questions or whatever. We try to figure it out. If we can't, I just been designated as the person that will call him and say, hey, look, this has happened. What do you think? Fortunately, we haven't really had to call him. We keeping him to breast on what's going on. We put him in the email chain, so he's still keeping track of the projects and what we're doing so that when he comes back, he'll be up to speed. But I just want to clarify that. I'm not the interim. I'm not directing employees. I'm the point of contact, as if he asked me to do that for him.
Ms. McAfee, and to the chairman, in all due respects to Mr. Mims, I need to say, I probably need to say this. I don't think he had intended to be on extended medical leave. I think it was his intention to come back and work some, like most men do. And of course, Al and our chairman and him had the same kind of surgery. And Al behaved himself, and I don't think Mr. Mims behaved himself. He came back in, which probably is part of the reason why he had to go back out and be on extended leave after that, because there were some things that led to that. And Miss Thompson and I got the notification on September the 23rd, as somebody said at the same time that y'all got it. And so I knew that he was going to be out, but I didn't know it was going to be extended leave, because we didn't talk about that. We try not to get in that, but I don't think it was his intention to stay out on extended leave. He gonna ease back in that back door and come on to work. Okay, that's all.
Right. Any other discussion on that part, Mr.
not
Lindsay,
speaking, I don't speak for Mr. Lindsay, but I think that is what he had in mind about making this suggestion. And as I say, the choice of words might have been wrong. Let me be clear. Craig Mims is the general manager, but he is out on extended leave. Until he comes back, we need somebody to run the entire operation, who has the experience and expertise to do that. And who had you contacted, Mr. Steve?
Mr. Ned Watson.
So, and Ned Watson retired as what? The general manager. So, if Ned Watson agrees to sit in that position until Mr. Mims come back, I think we need to approach him or give Mr. Lindsay the go ahead to talk to Mr. Ned Watson about doing that. And if I'm in order, I'd like to make a motion that
Point of order. Discussion.
All right.
Mr. Craft. What is a fair time limit, Mr. Lindsay? What is a fair time limit that Mr. Mims may be out, you consider is fair on medical leave before we go through the overall initiating, finding someone in his while he's out? What would you think is a fair time for this commission to allow? Mr. Lindsay, Mr. Lindsay.
What is his expected time of return? You said 30, 60, or 90 days. I mean, that's a big discrepancy.
Well, I understand that. I personally had a surgery that's August 7th, and I'm still out, and I can't judge mine by him.
Right.
So,
I know everybody's different.
Right. So I'm thinking, what would you think would be a fair amount of time to consider before we move forward in that?
Where's this timeline at now? How long has he been out already? Has it been a month?
About 30 days.
So we're working on a month now, and then possibly we're looking at another 3 or 4 months then, right? And I mean, I would ask the other commissioners what they thought would be a proper time frame.
I think the timeline is set in the family leave. What's it called that?
FMLA.
FMLA, Family
Medical Leave Act.
And I think they're set at 90 days. And to answer your question, Mr. Chairman, anything less than that will not be considered. And before anything else happens, if the leave is to be extended beyond that, that is the decision that I think needs to be made by Mr. Mims in conjunction with the commission. If he has the medical clearance to continue another 30 days, then we would allow whatever we would allow Mr. Mims, whatever time it takes for him to feel comfortable with his what you call that when you come from
Recovery.
No.
sickness.
Mr. Crafter, in discussing this, in the event he goes through whatever procedures he has, would that be a provision made for him to come back in and work light duty or do remote work or anything like that?
Hey, when Craig Mims is cleared to come back to work by his doctors, whoever is interim leaves, understand? Whether it be on temporary, part-time, or what. See what I'm saying? Because at that time, see right now, and I understand what Ms. McAfee is saying, but the man is recovering and rehabilitating from major knee surgery. All right, so they don't ask. He's in the loop, but I have not had knee surgery, and you will know, Mr. Chairman, because you had it. There's some times when you don't want to talk to nobody about the things. You know what I'm saying? And I think Mr. Mills need to have all the spaces he needs to recover from all that, and whatever time, be it part-time or whatever, that he decides that he's ready to come back. You understand? He won't come back as in the office with the interim. The interim leaves whenever he comes back. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. I thoroughly understand. I just wanted to make sure that the commission is legally following that HIPAA and all that good stuff to make those happen. And if that has not been prior to anyone in this position, maybe this is the start of a time frame we would consider. Is this person out because of a cold, because of surgery with an estimated 6-day recovery? Something that we can have a time frame on. We need to timeline it. That's all. I want to make sure we're crystal clear. I'll entertain a motion, Mr. Crafty. We can move on with the motion.
Well, before I make the motion, I don't intend to do anything. I have not seen none of the contracts that the commission has with Mr. Mills. But I'm not going to do anything that violates his contract. You know what I'm saying? And whatever it takes not to violate him in a way that he sues us is what we're going to do. So like I said, the job is his. Only thing we're doing is protecting our interests and the interests of the citizens and the owners of this system by having somebody to take over the reins until the main horse, and that doesn't mean that I'm not calling this man a horse. The main player gets back in the saddle, then he takes it. If he takes it and falls off, because he came back too early, then he can deal with that. At any rate, with that being said, I move that we allow Mr.
I had a question.
That's all. Go ahead.
I had a question. Are we allowing this to move forward with only one option of Mr. Ned Watson or someone that's more qualified for the job, but just one person?
Well, now, before he brought it up, before Mr. Lindsay brought it up, nobody was on the agenda, was on the radar. So I think that because he made this, and I think it's an excellent idea, because he made this recommendation as a new commissioner, I think we need to follow him and let him see how the system works, and that he is a part of this commission. So with that being said, and if in the interim, somebody says or sees that there's somebody more qualified than Mr. Watson, then hey, you want to make that change? We'll make that change. But the only thing, I'm not going to guess what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to leave it right there. But my motion is that Mr. Lindsay be given the authority to go on and talk to Mr. Watson about this issue and negotiate or set up the negotiations with a majority of the commission to determine how he's going to be paid.
I've been motion. Looking for a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thompson. All those in favor of Mr. Lindsay moving forward, looking for an interim, and while General Manager Mims is out on medical leave, by show of hands, show Ms. Penny raise up for the cameras, a show of hands for the vote. Mr. Crafter, Mayor, Mr. Lindsay, Rosemary Thompson, Commissioner Thompson, got it. And I oppose due to this pending litigation. I thank you so much. That's the last of the business. Any other business you need to bring forward? I thank you so much.
Got one thing to say, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I think, even though it's going on 2 hours, I think this group of people did an excellent job in taking care of business of the people of Fort Valley on this commission. I just
Well,
want to say
Mr. Crafty, I can say y'all were well behaved this evening. I sure.
that. Hey, it
That's
wasn't
because I
that you,
ate right in front of you.
hey, it wasn't that you didn't try. It wasn't that you didn't try.
Hey, if I was your general manager, I wouldn't let y'all know who my doctor is if I wanted to come on back to work. I wouldn't even tell you.
I thank y'all so much, Mr. Lindsay. Good question about the interim. I thank everybody for participating, all the information brought forth. And I thank everybody for attending on this October 12th. And let your sidekick know that I watched him anyway. This meeting is adjourned.
All right. Thank
Ms.
you.
Mayor,
Yes, yes, sir.
would you inform the council? Or should we do that in the form of a letter from the chairman?
Let's do it in form of a letter from the chairman. Is that okay?
Is he gone?
I think he got out of there.
Ms. Penny?
Penny still there?
I think we can compose it and
Okay.
then we'll compose it and then submit it to Penny for
Okay.
typing.
All right. That's fine. That's fine.
All right.
All
The
right.
meeting's over.
Thank you.